Hey everybody, this is Games Plus James and welcome back to our 2D platformer tutorial series here in Unity. Now today we're going to take a look at adding the ability for the player to shoot some bullets out of his amazing self, I don't know, so that we can kill some enemies, because what's the point of having the enemies there that all they can do is kill you if you can't get some revenge back on them. But before we're going to do that, as usual, we're going to take care of a little small thing at the start. So something that some other people noticed after the last video was if you walk into an enemy and get killed, that's fine, but if he's walking the other way, oh, he pushes you along a little bit, and that's not really the kind of behavior that you want happening in your game. So what we're going to do is, we had a little fix for when you fall down and you hit the off screen and then it makes you stop in midair or whatever. That's fine, but we don't. That was kind of a bit of a workaround to a problem that we hadn't solutionized yet. Solutionized, yes, that's a good word. So we have our camera as a child of the parent at the moment, of the player at the moment, and what we actually want to do is create a script for the camera to follow the player, and then when he gets killed, it'll just stop following the player. So then we won't have to worry about things getting moved around or anything weird like that. So that's what we're going to do now. So first thing we'll do is we'll grab the main camera and we'll pull it out of there, and then we'll head over to our scripts folder, create C# script, and we'll just call this camera controller, and we'll open that up over here. So what we'll need is, we'll just need a couple of little variables here in this. We'll need a public player controller player, so that's what the player is, and we'll also need a public bool is following. So this will determine if the camera is following the player or not. So when the script starts, it'll go, okay, we need to find what the player is. So player is equal to find objects of type player controller. So it'll look for any objects in the scene that have a player controller script attached to them, and there should only be one in the scene because we only have one player. So it'll find that, assign it to that, perfect. And we also want to set the is following is equal to true, because once you start the game you want the camera to be following the player. So that's fine. And then in our update loop, all we're going to have in here is just if is following, then transform dot position is equal to player dot transform. Oh no, wait, no, sorry, is equal to new vector tree, because we're going to be assigning it to be the same position as the player basically, but not exactly. So player dot transform dot position dot x, player dot transform dot position dot y, and we want to stick with the camera's current z value. So we'll say just transform dot position dot z. Oh, we got this off the screen slightly. That's not very helpful to anybody. And that should be a small t. Perfect. So we'll wrap that up and close that. And one other thing that we actually want to add to this as well is we want we want you or me to be able to control the position of the camera. So you don't always necessarily want the player in exactly the center of the screen. So we're going to add a couple of little values here: public float, x offset, and public float y offset. So there we go. So now we want to add these values onto the transform of the camera. So if it's following the player's x position, we want to add the x offset like that, and the same with the y position, we want to add y offset. And if we spelled it properly, that would be lovely as well. There we go. So we'll save this, do the convert thing, and we'll go back to the game, wait for this to compile down here in the bottom corner, and then once that's done, we will go to our main camera, add component camera controller, is following will be set, player will be set automatically. We'll leave those 0, 0 for a second just so we can see what happens. So now if we hit play, oh, here we go. Now look, perfectly, it's following the player. Once this guy, no, that'll still happen. We won't worry. At the moment, if he kills us, we're still going to have the problem of it'll be pushed along, because we haven't fixed that just yet. So that's fine. The camera's following the player. That's exactly what we want to happen. If we go to our X offset thing here, so say we set that to 5, there we go. Suddenly the camera is way ahead of the player. If we set it to -5, the player is all the way over there. We're happy to keep him in the middle of the screen, but the Y value, I think we might want to push that. So if we set it to 2, there we go. The player's more at the bottom of the screen. That kind of makes a little bit more sense for a platformer game, so you can see the platforms that are above you. So we'll stop the game, and as we know, once we're playing the game, if you change any values, they don't get saved. So we have to change this back to 2 again here. And now, in our level manager script, so we'll open that up here. Here we go. In here we have a couple of little things. We were setting the gravity to 0 and setting the velocity to 0. And to be honest, we don't need to worry about that stuff now if we have this camera script added on. So what we're going to do up here, we're going to add just a private camera controller, and we'll call it camera. And again, in the start function, we'll say camera is equal to find object of type camera controller. So now once we get down to here, we don't need gravity store anymore, so we comment that out. We don't need this gravity scale bit anymore. We don't want this bit anymore, so we don't need any of those. So similarly down here, we don't need to change the gravity again. Everything else we still need. But okay, so we'll go back up here and we'll just go camera dot is following is equal to false, and then after the player has responded, back down here we'll go camera dot is following is equal to true. So again, we'll just say, oh, we typed the S there. We'll save that, pop back into the game. Once again, wait for it to compile down here, and then once we hit the play button, we should see that the camera will stop as soon as you get killed. Okay, well that was a bad example because he wasn't pushing you anyway. But he'll come back here and then bang, camera stays exactly where you want it to be. Again, if we fall down here and kill ourselves, camera stays exactly perfect. So there we go. Now we have a little camera controller script all attached. And if you want to do different things like making the camera kind of go behind the player and all that stuff, those are all potential things we can do with the camera in the future. But for now, we're happy with what we've got. So there we go. That's our basics covered. So now we're going to move on to the main topic of this episode, which is firing projectiles and shooting the enemy so that he can stop annoying us. I've updated the art file that we've been using for the program to add a little bullet or a little ninja throwing star into the game. So once you download that, if you grab the new sprite and go to your folder where the game is stored, and go into assets and into your art folder there, and here you go, we've got our thing. Now what you could do, you could just drag the new one straight into the game, but what that'll do is it'll create a second entry here, and we don't really want to create a second one, we just want to replace the original one. So what the way to do that is like grab it from where you've downloaded it, just Control and C to copy it or whatever you use, and then paste it in there, replace the file, and now once we pop back into Unity, if we look at this in the sprite editor, we can see we've got the new throwing stars straight away in there. So what we're going to do is first of all, we're going to create them as an item and use them in the game. I have two of them added here, but we're only going to use the small one. So if you just highlight that box, it might be a little bit hard to see because of the color of it, but it's much more viewable when you're working on things. It might be harder to see in the video. But we'll call this Ninja Star. Hit apply. Okay, and then we'll drag this Ninja Star onto the level here. So now we've got the start of our first object. We're going to add some things to it. We're going to add a circle collider. We'll make that a trigger, and we'll also add a rigid body 2D. Perfect. We also want to make this a prefab because we're going to be making lots of changes to this, and the player's going to be firing it, so he's going to be able to fire much more than just one of them. So we'll make this prefab by dragging it in there. Perfect. And now, the first thing we're going to do is add the ability for the player to fire the ninja. So we'll go to our player controller script. We'll open that up here over in mono develop. So we need a couple of things here. We need a point for the player to shoot from, so we'll call that public transform, let's call it fire point, and we need the item that he's going to fire. So public game object, we'll just say Ninja Star. Perfect. So now what we'll do is we'll go after all the movement code that we have, and we'll go down to here and we'll say if input dot get key down, we have to make sure, get key down, and we'll say key code dot return. So when you hit the return or the enter button, it'll fire our Ninja Star. Why is this red here? Let me just type this in again just to make sure. Key code dot, oh, I think it was the small letters. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now we'll make our squiggly brackets, put it here, and inside this is just simply going to be instantiate Ninja Star at, and the position of it, it'll be our fire point dot position and fire point dot rotation. Perfect. So that'll create our objects for us. So we'll go back into the game here. While that's compiling, we're going to add a fire point to the player. So we'll grab our player in the hierarchy and we'll say game object create empty child, and we'll call this, we'll just call this fire point as well, just to keep things nice and simple. We'll give this a little red dot here like this so we can see, and then we'll, if we click on it there again, and we'll just drag it out to here, say. So that seems roughly about right. And now we'll click back on our player, so we'll go down to here, and now we've got two spaces here. So we'll grab our fire point into our fire point place, and we'll click on prefabs and grab our Ninja Star prefab and pop it in there. Make sure you don't grab the one from the hierarchy, because there's only one of them there, and that one is going to be destroyed over time. Okay, so now we'll say, we'll hit play here and we'll see what we have, and hopefully it should be all working okay. Okay, that Ninja Star fell down, so that's not right. Actually, there we go. See, that's an example of something we need to make sure that the gravity scale is 0, because we don't want our thrown stars to fall down. Well, I mean, maybe we might want them to slowly fall over time, but I personally don't think we do. So we'll hit 0 there, and make sure, now that we have this as a prefab, every time we make a change we want to hit apply, so it applies to all the prefabs. So now we hit play again. Okay, and we hit enter. Oh, and it's making our objects appear, but of course all they're doing at the moment is just staying there. There's no movement on them. So how do we make them fire? Well, to do that, we'll very simply add a simple little script to each Ninja Star object. So we're going to create a script again, create C# script, and we're going to call this Ninja Star controller. Open this up in mono develop, and again, this is going to be a pretty simple bit of code once this opens up. Here we go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just make this move and be a star, basically. So we're going to need a speed. So we need a float speed. No, sorry, a public float speed. We need to say I can't type. Public float speed. Perfect. And that'll do for the moment. So we'll go to our update here, and basically all we'll do is, once the object is moving, we'll just say transform dot, sorry, not transform, rigid body 2D dot velocity is equal to new vector 2, and we're going to say speed, and we're going to say rigid body 2D. No, don't add capital letters, there's no need for that. See, it's weird with mono develop. Sometimes it just wants to add a capital letter for no reason. Rigid body 2D dot velocity dot y. That's perfect. And we also want our object to get destroyed when it hits something. So we're going to add our void on trigger enter 2D, much as we have done before, and we'll say collider 2D other, and we add our squiggly brackets, and here we're just going to say destroy game object. Perfect. Save this, do the converting again if you have to, and then we'll hit play once that's finished compiling into the game. And it should be, now we should see that our ninja throwing stars can like fly through the air and hit enemies, or not. No, well, that's the problem, of course. If you don't add a script to the ninja star, nothing is going to happen. So ninja star controller speed, we'll say let's give him a speed of 8. Again, hit apply, hit the play button this time. We should see the one up here fly off to the right, so he goes flying. We can throw our ninja stars, perfect, just like we wanted. They destroy themselves when they hit player. Not doing any damage to the enemy yet, but we're going to sort that out in a minute. But the other problem is if we're facing left, oh, the ninjas still are trying to travel right. As you can see, you can kind of see them. They appear for a second and then they hit the player and then they get destroyed. So that's really not what we want to happen either. So a very simple way to do that is we'll add another variable here of a player controller, and we'll just call this player, and we'll do the same again of getting that player controller. So we'll just take that code from, say, our camera controller here, doesn't really matter. So we'll say again player is equal to find object of type, so pop that in there, and then in our start loop we will say if player.transform.localScale.x, so that'll get the x value, which is determine whether he's facing left or facing right. So if that is less than 0, so basically if he's facing left, then we'll say speed is equal to minus speed. So what that'll do is it'll take the speed value we have, it'll say if he's facing left, okay, we want the velocity to be minus 8, so that once the object is fired, it'll head off to the left. So we'll do that. We'll check that out here now in the game. Hit play here, and perfect. So now we've got our ninja stars flying off to the left, or flying off to the right. But we've got a little bit of a problem here. It's a little bit close to the player, and you can see. Oh no! This is a different problem that's happening. Sorry, it's colliding with the checkpoint. We'll sort that out in a little bit, but that's, for the moment, we're okay with that. But when we're moving like this, it's colliding with the player. So I think what we actually need is we need to pull this a little bit away from the player. So just say about there. So now if we hit play again, yeah. So now when you're walking, it doesn't accidentally hit off the player and get collided with him. Okay, that's fine. So, but it's not doing any damage to the enemy at all. So what's the point in having this thing if we're not going to be able to kill our enemies? So we'll head back into the script again. No, actually, before we head back in the script, we need the object to be able to know what is hitting is the enemy. And at the moment, there's nothing really to define this enemy here. I mean, he has an enemy patrol script, so we could say we could get it to check what the other object is, and we could get it to look for that script on the object and then decide, oh, it's an enemy, okay, we can destroy him. But another very simple way to do it is to add a tag to this enemy. So we have a little tag option here. You can see untagged, and if you drop this down, we've got like a few different things. We've got respawn, finish, blah, 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 blah. What we're going to do is add a tag here. We're going to add a new tag, and we're going to call this enemy. So that, and that's all you have to do. Just add that. Just type in enemy there. We'll head back to our enemy here. We're going to hit tag, and we're going to select enemy. And then in our script, we're going to say, okay, so the object gets destroyed when it hits something. But before it destroys itself, we wanted to check for the enemy. So we'll say if other.tag is equal to enemy. So now we know that we're hitting an enemy here at our squiggly brackets. Destroy other.gameObject. Save that. Hit play once it's all compiled out again. And now, hopefully, our shurikens or ninja stars, whatever you want to call them, boop, okay, enemy gone. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted to happen. But it's a little bit kind of boring. He just kind of disappears. That's kind of not very exciting for anybody. So we're going to add another option here. So in our untitled chapter, we're going to say public game object enemy death effect, and when our enemy gets hit, we're going to make it instantiate this object. So we're going to say instantiate. Oh no, that's a completely wrong thing. Instantiate. There we go. Enemy death effect, and the point we want it to happen at is other dot transform dot position and other dot transform dot rotation. So we'll save that, pop back in over here, and what I want to do is go to our Ninja Star. Once it's finished compiling here we go, scroll down. So now we've got another extra space here, and what we're going to do is take the same death effect that we used for the player, our death particle, pop that in there, hit apply again, hit play. So now once we hit him, boom, he explodes. Perfect. Now we have a little bit of an impact effect, but at the moment as well also we want the Ninja Stars to like do something once they hit, because it's kind of, it looks a bit lame that they just hit the wall and nothing happens. So what we're going to do for this is we're going to take this we'll take the death particle one, that's fine, we'll pop that there, we'll just put it on looping for now so that we can keep track of it, and we're going to go to game object and break prefab instance. So now it's no longer a prefab over here, so we can make it a completely new thing. So we're going to rename this to Ninja Star Impact. We're going to make this roughly the same kind of grey as the Ninja Star, so we'll say, I don't know, round about there. And we don't want so many of them. We want to go to our emission down here, and instead of 30 particles, let's just bring this down to like 3. And we don't want them firing out so far. That's way too big of an impact for such a tiny little weapon. So we'll make our lifetime much shorter. See, he goes much shorter, and we'll make our start size, bring that down to 0.1, say. There we go. So now we've got a little bit like that, and we'll bring our speed down as well. We'll make this actually 0.15. But there you go. As I said in the previous video, mess around with particles. You can kind of get lost to it if you want to, and fiddle around with it for ages. So we'll grab our Ninja Star Impact, pop that there as a prefab now. So we'll go to our Ninja Star. Oh, we haven't added the script yet, so nothing's happening just yet. So in our Ninja Star controller, we're going to say public game object impact effect. So down here, again, we're going to just instantiate this little bit. So we'll say instantiate impact effect at transform dot position and transform dot rotation. Perfect. Save that. Pop back in here. Hit play. And now we should get it feeling a little bit more nice. So we'll kill him. Oh no, well, we haven't assigned the thing, so now it's frozen. Okay, sorry about that. That was a silly mistake to make. All we need to do is, also I noticed that our Ninja Star Impact is still looping, so we don't want it to keep looping. So we will do that and hit apply. And now go back to our Ninja Star down here, and we won't grab this Ninja Star Impact. We'll actually just delete that because we don't need that in the scene anymore. But we'll grab the Ninja Star Impact from our prefabs. And if I actually will scroll down to the thing, here we go. Ninja Star Impact into Impact Effect. And again, hit apply there. And this time, rather than freezing up, the game should make our Ninja Star look a bit nicer. So we kill him. You see there's a little bit of explosion there. But see, now when it hits the wall, you just get a little bit of impact. So it makes it feel a little bit more solid and a little bit more real. So that's pretty much the basics of making our projectile. But we've still got a couple of little issues. Like, we're not getting any points for killing that guy. So surely we should get some points for killing our enemies, shouldn't we? And that's a very simple little thing to add in as well. We've added our points from our coins, and it's pretty much the exact same thing. So we'll just do public int points for kill, and then down when we kill an enemy here, we'll just go score manager dot add points for kill. Nice and simple. easy to do. And now we pop back into the game, and we'll give it, say, let's say we'll give him like 500 points for killing. So apply that, hit play, and now once we kill this enemy, as long as he doesn't kill us first, kill him. There we go, we got our 500 points. Perfect. Now one other little problem that we've got is when we fire these, oh no, it's hitting the checkpoint. We can't see the checkpoint, so it shouldn't really be hitting it and doing anything for us. So what we're going to do to solve that problem is we're going to assign some layers to checkpoints and to the ninja star. So what we're going to do is, over here in our layer option, we haven't got very many options for layers here, so we're going to add some more ourselves. We've got a grounder player, and that's what's used for checking the ground and stuff like that. But now we're going to also add a projectiles layer, and we're going to add a checkpoints layer, and we'll add a collectibles layer as well. So now, back up, no, not even back, but up here. Oh no, sorry, we have to assign those things first, don't we? Yes, so our ninja star, we need to make him, he's a projectile, and hit apply on that. Our checkpoint, so we just highlight, oh no, we have them as a prefab, so we'll just go to our checkpoints prefab, go to layer, and hit checkpoints, and that'll change, and it'll automatically change all these, so now these are all checkpoints. Where's our coins? They're on here, so we'll grab our coins, and we'll make all these collectibles. So now they're all assigned, that's perfectly fine, but that doesn't do anything for us by itself. What we need to do is go to edit, edit up here, and go down to project settings, and then physics 2D. And then in physics 2D, you can decide which layers can interact with each other, basically, or collide with each other. So what we want to do is get our projectiles, and we can see in our projectiles here, if we look across, we can see there's a couple of boxes, and what that means is if we look up here, we can see collectibles. So what it means is if projectiles and collectibles are interacting, then they'll be fine. So we don't want them to do that, so we'll untick that. So projectiles and collectibles, when they hit each other, now nothing will happen. And same with checkpoints here, and the same with projectiles as well. We don't want them to collide with themselves somehow, because that'll be no good. And there's another projectiles one here that looks down, so that if you want to interact with any of the levels or any of the layers that already existed before, that'll sort that out there. So now, if we hit play, and we go back into our game, we kill that guy just for fun, and now when we throw them, perfect. Now they fly through the air, they don't get caught on that checkpoint thing. Same with the coins here. Now if we hit any of them, perfectly fine. And that's pretty much the basics of having a little projectile in the game. Now we could add like a whole load of enemies, we can be able to fight them and survive, and we can have a little bit more fun to be had with the game. So yes, thanks for watching, everybody. I will of course be back with more tutorials in the very near future, but in the meantime, have fun making your own game. It's been awesome seeing a few people have put up links to games they've been working on with using some of the code that I've been showing all you guys, and it's awesome. That's awesome to see. I love the fact that people are actually using this stuff and getting some good experience out of it all. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll be back soon. Stay cool. Thanks for watching this episode, and if you'd like to see just how some of the concepts we've covered can be brought together into a fully fledged game, then head to portalnauts.com and check out the demo for my game that I've been working on for the last while. It uses a lot of the concepts we covered so far in the series, as well as other things that we're going to cover in the future. So if you want to get a feel for where we're going and what kind of things you can make with these with the basics of Unity, head over there, try out the game for yourself, and let me know what you think of it, of course. And the best place to let me know is to head to Twitter @GamesPlusJames. Say hi, I'm always there, ready to say hello and do stupid things. But also, if you'd like to see some of the game being worked on and developed in real time, head to twitch.tv/GamesPlusJames, where I regularly stream development of the game, and you can get to see behind the scenes of how things all work. So, head there, say hello, and I'll see you all in the near future.